Welcome to KSM Adventures of an Arcane Mage here on Lord PeteyTV Plays. In this video series, we will be following Petey as he tries to learn how to play Arcane Mage while getting Keystone Master. See all of our restrictive rules on Discord. Please note that throughout the video, non-boss combat is double speed, and if you have any questions or comments, please place them below. Please hit that follow button to see more content from Lord PeteyTV throughout the week. I wanted everybody to know, with full disclosure, that I tried to produce a whole group for our first key, and I had to wait over 45 minutes. And during that time, a handful of our channel members wanted to join. I told them no. But after noticing our viewership dropping within the channel, I allowed some of them to join. But I put restrictions on them as I would of myself. I had them have also no item leveled characters under 400, and they had to play specs that they rarely had played before. This had only occurred for our first 3 keys this week, and the 4th was 100% solo. I feel like this week being the Dungeon Weekly was the biggest cause of having this issue on producing groups.
Oh boy. No, something wrong.
Now, one of the hardest things that I had to do on this boss fight for Watcher was figure out the proper rotation. Now, being that I was not 100% positive on how the rotation fully worked, I had to learn very quickly on the fly how to use certain abilities. Now, I tried to use as many of the cooldown abilities as I possibly could and using Barrage as much as I could after I got my Arcane Blast charges done. The other thing I tried to make sure I did was I tried to use Blink to make sure I got out of most of the large areas of effects, because I feel like that is probably the safest way to do it. Now, in addition to that, I made sure I used Mass Shield or Arcane Mage Shield, whatever that was called, to help save the rest of the team as they're running through. Now, the other thing is that this tank did a fantastic job tanking this boss, because I know that they never had tanked it before. And for me, trying to produce a rotation to DPS this boss was very, very difficult. I tried using clear casts. I tried to use arcane missiles every single clear cast, and I tried to proceed to produce as much damage as possible throughout the whole entire time. Now, the boss went down fairly easily, but once again, this was a 2, and I feel that even with our item restrictions and how everything was going, I think that it really did help for us to be able to, take down a lot of these different types of mobs. Also, one of the pugs that we brought into this group will happen to be this warlock. As you see throughout the whole entire dungeon, this warlock is just dominating us the whole entire time on the meters. Now, this warlock and this evoker, I have no idea who they happen to be. The paladin and the Resto Shaman are 2 people from the channel that wanted to join and help out and get a couple of keys done with us. So you'll end up seeing a couple of them throughout the whole, not the whole entire week, but a couple of the dungeons this week. Just a reminder, Lord PeteyTV can be used at Rogue Energy Drinks to have a discount to support the channel. Links in the description. Now, one of the hardest things for myself to deal with when fighting the frog boss in Halls of Infusion is the fact that he has those frogs. I didn't know exactly the correct way to have to deal with them to make sure he got those mobs to get the gulp and to make sure he eats them all. Now, during this time, I tried to frost nova them in place, but it wasn't even necessary because the mobs are just getting burnt down so quickly from that warlock. Now, as you can see, I'm using Arcane Blast, and I'm trying to use different types of abilities to make sure that we end up taking down the frog as quick as possible. Now, the other thing I want you to look at is that when we're doing this, I'm throwing the arcane orbs as much as I possibly can, because it's almost like I started getting clear cast procs and I wasn't even sure how that was even a thing. Now, one other thing I tried to make sure I ended up doing was I ended up using other abilities, for instance, Tempest, and I think it was an arcane torrent of some sort. You'll see I'll be using that mostly with larger fights. But I started to kind of feel more accustomed to using those abilities that I've not really gotten used to seeing before. Have you seen Lord PeteyTV wearing these amazing gamer glasses? These glasses are from Sub2R. If you go to the description and you click on their link, and if you want to purchase them, use Lord PeteyTV at checkout for 10% off. Now, this hallway I was very, very, very concerned with because we know that this hallway has some of the hardest pulls in the whole dungeon, involving specifically that last pull that we're going to be encountering right now. Now, I ended up wanting to burn them as soon as possible, but I died. I got meleeed and I died. I think I might have gotten too close, pulled aggro, or bursted, or whatever I might have done. But what I tried to learn during the scenario was what not to do, and that's not to try to blow some of my highest cooldowns right then and there.
Drink.
Now, once again, we're going to be encountering another boss here. Now, what I wanted to end up saying before was I ended up starting to learn that I had to pop specific cooldowns on pull here to maximize my damage. And a lot of those are, Nether Tempest, Arcane Surge, and then I would end up using Radiant Spark, and I would also be using Touch of the Magi. Now, once I ended up doing all those abilities and throwing as many of them as possible up on the boss, I can actually do some damage and maximize some damage. Now, I ended up messing up and not using some of them because I don't think I was used to having such large global cooldowns. So I ended up missing a lot of them on this pull. So it took me a little bit, but after a while, we ended up taking the boss down pretty easily. Like I said before, that warlock, I don't know what he was doing or what he was ended up like wanting to do, but he was just killing everything really, really hard and really, really quick during this dungeon.
You gotta figure out the right way to burst.
Looking to support the channel? Go to teespring.com, click on the link in the description, and go ahead and take a look at that really, really nice merchandise. Pick it up to help support the channel.
Ow. Oh. I will take that.
Now, during this time, I figured out that I still was not 100% positive on how to do rotations on bosses because it was just something that I never really taken into account and I never really learned. So I tried to pretty much take care of as much as I did know and didn't know how to learn from. And that's pretty much doing presence of mind and then proceeding to try to drop a couple of arcane blasts and then follow them up with barrages to do as much damage once we had 4 stacks, because we were trying to make sure that we had our 2 different phases, our DPS phase and our conserve phase. So kind of just going between the two, and every single time I ended up getting the channels, I would do some arcane missiles, and we would go through the process. So it would take a little bit, but this boss went down pretty quickly. I just want to say thanks again, everybody, for checking out our videos, and we're going to be putting out as many of them throughout the whole entire week. At least 4 dungeons are going to be mages. I should say 4 videos are going to be of the mage each week. And then we'll have, our regular affix videos. And we're going to have other videos too every single week. So thank you very much for hanging out. I greatly appreciate you all for spending the time here. And I will see you all soon. Thank you. And I hope to see you all soon in chat. Bye, everybody. At least you got a nice one-handed weapon.